Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Haroon. Welcome to my next video where we're going to be looking at الصفة المشبهة باسم الفاعل. So you get the clue. We're going to be working with اسم الفاعل, which we've covered in a previous video. If you need to memorize or just go through that, please do in a previous video or the video before that, and you'll find it there. So sometimes you want to say something, you want to talk about the one doing an action, a fa'il, but you want to emphasize something about it, right? So it's about the one who is carrying out the verb, just as we know. The fa'il is the one that's doing the action. But the difference with this as-sifatu al-mushabbahatu bi-ism al-fa'ili is usually a number of things. It's usually something that's long-term, something that's a bit more intense, or something that's a bit more abundant, right? And you'll see this in the Quran regularly. So let me give you 3 examples that will be very, very common in the Quran. And when you spot them in the Quran, you find these ismul fa'ilis, these as-sifatu al-mushabbatu bismil fa'il. Make sure you put them in the comment section as well. And tell me what you think the translation might be. So I'm going to use this verb here, kathura, which is the past tense for abundant. Then yaksuru, which is the mudari, the present or future tense, and kathratan, which is the masdar, okay, the verbal noun. So, say I want to say something is a lot. So the word kathir means abundant, right? What if I want to say like, there's a lot of it, kathir, right? Instead of saying kathura, all I need to do is something very, very simple. I take this word here, which is fa'il, which gives you a sense of abundance. A lot, abundant, or a lot, right? And you just do kathir, kathir. Can you see? So it doesn't mean abundant, but it means like, it doesn't mean a lot, but it means there's loads, so much, kathirun, right? You take the word alim, and you make it like this, alimun, right? The person knows, but he knows a lot, right? Alimun, qadir. You have the word qadar, qadir, but if you make it qadirun, right? Very powerful, like Allah has abundant power, right? Like it's so much. So you can do this with fa'ilun, right? Sometimes when you have plurals for these, because this is a singular, so the plurals are usually a broken plural, what's called a jam'un mukassarun, which you've done already with me. This is just an important point. And they can come on various patterns, right? So ghaniyun, which means rich. But if you say aghniya, so many rich people, abundant rich, wealth. Faqirun, fuqara, poverty but really poor, right? Or saghirun, which means young. But if you want to say lots of really young people, you say sigharun. Okay, so that's important to bear in mind. The second one, it's called, let's get it right. It's fa'ulun, which I've actually missed out, so I'm going to bring it in. So I'm going to put it here, actually. I'm going to squeeze it in here if I can. Right? The second one is fa'ulun. Fa'ulun. Okay, so this is another one that I want to introduce. This is like long term. Right? Like, so whereas fa'ilun is abundance, or a lot, fa'ulun is to do with something that's long term. So for example, you take the verb ghafara, which means to forgive. Allah's forgiving. But Allah's ghafurun. Right? Allah is like always forgiving, constantly forgiving. Yeah, long term, ghafurun. Allah is constantly doing something, if you like. It's a form of long term or a form of constant. So ghafurun. So you could say Allah forgives, but then that's kind of like saying, well, Allah forgives once. But we say, no, Allah forgives constantly. He's regularly forgiving you, right? So it's like really, really powerful. So that's something to bear in mind. And sometimes you have another one, I'm going to leave this one out, which is fa'alun, which is like a form of extreme. Like extreme. Really, really extreme. Like sabbarun. You could say saburun. You could say saburun here. Like you could use this one to say saburun. But if you're going to say sabbarun, you're like, he's extremely patient. Fa'alun sabbarun. So that's very, very useful as well. All right, so you got fa'ilun, which is a form of abundance, which is a form of abundance, if you like. You've got fa'ulun here, which you get ghafurun as an example. Allah is always forgiving. Like, you can make as many mistakes as you want, but Allah will always forgive you, right? And fa'alun, in the example I've used, is sabbarun. Like, you could say saburun. The person is patient, regularly patient, but he's extreme in his patience, sabbarun, right? Or you could use shakurun. And for example, in this one, shakurun, Allah is always grateful, right? Shakarun, extremely grateful. You meet people who are just very, very grateful. So these are worth bearing in mind as well. All right, so if you have any questions on this, of course, you can always reach out to me. A final point I want to make here, and let's see if I can do this, is that both the ismul fa'ili, right, that we've covered in a previous video, the ismul maf'uli that we've also covered in the previous video. Let me try and spell it properly. Al-maf'uli. And the one that we covered just now, as-sifatu al-mushabbahatu, right? Bi-ismil fa'ili. I apologize for the rush handwriting, right? They can both be nouns and they can be adjectives. Okay? So they can be nouns and they can be adjectives. So, for example, if you take this word, we've covered before, ghaniyun, okay? And if you take that as an adjective, then you would say rich, because it's describing someone. But if you take it as a noun, you're going to take it as a rich person. Okay, so that's important to bear in mind as well. For example, let's take another word, mujtahidun. Okay, so if you take that as an adjective, right, that's going to be hardworking. But if you take it as a noun, it'll be like a hardworking person or one who works hard. All right, so we'll just bear that in mind. The ismul fa'ili, ismul maf'uli, as-sifatu, al-mushabbahatu bi ismul fa'ili, they can be nouns and they can be adjectives as well. All right, hope you found that useful. Any questions, please do put them in the comment section. If you have any examples you want to share, put them in the comment section, and if I see them, I will respond to you. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.